Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Carlson Power Tools in under 10 minutes. I'm your host, Gary Rosen, and good to see you. Hope you're all doing well. Last week was our user conference in Maysville, Kentucky, and we had a really good experience there. Had a good week. One of the sessions that I wound up doing that went well was called LotNET, RoadNET, SiteNET. And then I said there and back again with the idea of repeating the process, which is part of the idea. And I decided I wanted to try and present that to you in an under 10-minute version, just to get you started. It's not going to be in-depth training because of the amount of material. I just want to expose you to the sequence of steps and get your interest peaked here and show you what you could potentially do. We'll follow up maybe with more detailed stuff, or you can get in touch with me and I can help or whatever. I want to thank Tony Kinder for his encouragement along the way. Tony's been awesome to work with, and he really encouraged me to do this and kept telling me, "You can do it, you've got this," which was very nice. Doug Alberg was extremely helpful. I ran it by him. We went back and forth quite a bit, and when we hit an interesting snag, he pulled the fire alarm, and Jim Massengale, a programming wizard, basically flew in on a helicopter and used his unique intuition to discover what was wrong and solved it for me Friday before I left for the conference. So thanks to Jim especially for making sure everything worked for me. So what we're looking at today is the idea of taking the LotNET application that's in Survey and Civil, the RoadNET function application that's a power tool that's in Civil, and the SiteNet power tool that's in Civil, and putting them together and getting them to work, talk to each other, and interact together, which they do pretty well. There's a little work to get them to have a little better conversation between them, but it's working, and I'm going to see if we can fix a few of the little things that are. But I'll try and point a few of those out. They're very minor, and you just got to be careful. But it is working pretty smoothly. So, with no further ado, I'm going to jump right in. I've got a drawing started. I've got a project set up. The only thing I did ahead of time was I did load in my data folder under my surfaces. I did load a TIN file of the surface that I want to work with. That's the only thing I did ahead of time. The rest of it is a new drawing, and those of you that have seen some of my stuff, I like to do that. I like to start with a new drawing and not necessarily pull, finished cakes out of the oven. So that's where we're at. So I'm going to go very quickly. There's a lot to show, and I'm going to kind of show it minimally to just get you through the steps. That's my hope, and we'll see how it goes. I'm going to try and go right through and not pause and cut and paste. What that may be required, we'll just see. But I'm going to give it a shot. So here we go. Step number one, I'm going to go to surfaces, and I'm going to, in Civil, I'm going to say draw a surface boundary, and I'm going to do a 2D polyline on this layer. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to go grab my OG2 surface and draw it. Of course, the reason is so that I know where we're working. Otherwise, I'm in a blank screen. Of course, I have no idea where we are. I probably should have done this ahead of time, but I'm going to create two new layers very quickly. I'll make one called boundary, BNDRY, and I'll make another one called center lines. Just very simply, and we'll give them some colors so we can see what's happening. Which one we're working on here. We'll just make that guy blue, and I'll make the boundary layer current to start with. And what we're going to do is a 2D polyline, 2DP I like to type, and I'm going to basically just sketch one in here. So if you want to try some of this or all of it, the idea here is I'm kind of faking a C for close. You just need a surface. The rest of it you can make up on the fly. So I draw in a boundary that I need LotNet and SiteNet need boundaries, and I need them to I want them to work inside this boundary. So I have to tell it where to work inside of. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw a center line. I'm going to say center line. I'm going to keep this, again, very simple. I'm going to do a 2D polyline. And what we're going to do for safety's sake is we're going to come inside the surface, but outside the boundary. And there's some thoughts there about why and how that works, but for now, that's what we're going to do. And you know what? My screen just went dark. So I'm going to change that. I'm not even going to pause. I'm just going to change that and keep going. How do you like that? Not even going to start over. Okay, so now we're going to save our drawing. And the first thing we're going to do is jump into LotNet. We're going to look at our settings, and we're going to create a new LotNet file. It's going to go in my project's data lots folder. And I'm going to go ahead and say Lot Road SiteNet is the name of my drawing. I'm going to call this one Lots. Now, the only thing that's critical here that we discovered, which could change in future, but right now, safety critical, is to have a different name for your LotNet than from your RoadNet. Okay, so we're going to call our LotNet Lot Road SiteNet Lots. Okay, and we're going to really take most of the defaults. We're going to say, starting lot 1, etc. We're going to draw on lot edge, which is perfectly fine. We're going to label the areas. Not going to look at those settings right now. They're fine. And that's pretty much all we need to do for now, for the lot setup, the initial lot settings. We're going to come in here. This is LotNet, RoadNet, SiteNet. My toolbars are lined up here. So I'm going to go to a boundary for LotNet, and I'm going to pick this and say that's my boundary. I just have to pick it and say go. Then I'm going to fire up what it says is road network, and it's going to start up here. It's going to ask for a RoadNet name, and we're going to go ahead and call it Lot Road SiteNet Roads. Okay. It didn't offer the drawing name, so I had to type the whole thing, but that's fine. The main idea is it has a different name than the LTN. Here we are. We're going to go to our settings. Notice it says lot network, but we're working in a RDN. In a road network is listed here, the network, but it's a lot network dialog box. That's very critical. Now we're going to tell it to create lots, and we're going to look at our settings. We're going to say we want half-acre lots. We have minimum frontage and other settings here, which we're not going to go into detail on here today for time purposes. We're just going to, you'll have this. You can look at it slowly if you want to. Look at some of these settings and use those or make up your own. But the main thing is we're telling to create lots, okay? Now we're going to come in here and say add. I use the button to add. A screen pick a road, and we're going to pick our road. We're going to give it a name, assign a centerline name. And we're going to call this, what should we call this? We'll call it Berkeley. Berkeley with a Y. I like that. Oop, I spelled it wrong. Berkeley. Yeah, I like that. And the center line, the right-of-way offsets are no. So we're going to come in here. We're going to create one, right-of-way offsets. We're going to call this 40, or 40 foot, we'll call it. And it says I say it's existing and I'm making a new one, so it warned me. But the main thing is we're going to go a 20 left and right, a 40-foot right of way, okay? So we're going to save and exit that. And that's all we really need right there. And then we're going to go ahead and add a cul-de-sac. We're going to put a cul-de-sac at the end. Let's give it a 50-foot radius, and let's give it 20-foot curb returns there, whatever, on the way in. Okay, and we'll say, okay. And let's see if we try to generate our lots. It says, okay, there's your first shot at your LotNet. Now, it's creating footprints. There's a setting there that I had left on. I'm going to leave it on. I could turn that off. Last week I did that later, but you know what? I'm going to leave those. I can show you where that setting is, but it's part of your setup in lot network is to put building pads and how big on each lot. So we're going to leave that. That's not so bad. We're going to exit, and that's the initial look at the LotNET piece of the puzzle. Okay, now we're going to go to RoadNet. So we come in here, and we come in here right into the road network. And it says, which road network are we using? And it's existing, and it's this one, which we haven't done much with. Well, we've defined it in 2D. We haven't done anything with it in 3D. But we're going to go, now it says road network, and it's the same RDN, but it's a road network now. We're going to go to our settings here, and we're going to set our existing ground surface. Very important. If we don't do that, it'll warn us, but it's nice to do it ahead of time for a couple reasons. And for output, we're not going to elevate anything, lots or pads, yet. We're going to come back to that in just a second. So we're going to take that off, but we are going to triangulate and contour and create ourselves a surface of our road. So we're going to say roads as our TIN file for the road network, okay? Another thing that we're doing back here in process is we are not tying to existing ground in this case. Normally we would for road design, but in this case it's a road inside of a subdivision, so we don't want to tie to existing ground. We want to basically have our lots graded to the road instead of tying to existing ground. So we're taking that off here. And we're going to look at our road. We'll double click, and it says, okay, I've got your 2D road, but I don't know anything about the profile. So we're going to create a new profile, and we're just going to call it Berkeley. Same name as the center line. And let's take a look at that. And it says your template is missing, and we say we know that. But there's our existing ground, and there's our proposed finished grade. We're going to go ahead and add a PVI right here with, like, say, a 200-foot vertical curve, which is incredibly, amazingly easy. And we're going to add another one right here, and we'll give it 200 too. And then the amazing part of RoadNet is I just grab this vertical curve and I go, well, let's put it right there. And after many, many, many white-haired long years of doing this, that still is quite spectacular. So we're just going to do that much of an edit for now. For the template, I'll tell you what, we're going to make a template. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to say 12-foot lanes. If I run out of time, I'll try not to. And I'll edit this, and I'm going to make a very simple template. So we're going to say it's a minus 2% cross slope for 12 feet. This is going to be called the lane. That's all. And we'll put in, if it's a cut, go with a 3-to-1 slope. Okay, and if it's a fill, I want a 3-to-1 slope. And though it's not really going to be used, I'll just go ahead and put in one subgrade material. I picked the wrong one. Subgrade I wanted here, sorry. And I'm going to say, we'll go straight up. Horizontal offset from the center line is 0. Vertical offset in inches. So let's just do asphalt. We'll do like 4 inches of asphalt for the full 12 feet. And this is asphalt, as we say in Canada, asphalt. That's fine. We'll go with that. We got one subgrade. We put more, but we don't have time. So we're going to save and exit out of there. There's our template. And if I did all that right, let's look at our cul-de-sac and just make sure it's there. Yep, 50 and 20, everything looks good. So if we process our road, we should see, I'll hold my shift key and go into 3D. And there's our road built in 3D, just the road, just the crown of the road and the template parts and the cul-de-sac. So let's just save that because that worked pretty well. And now we're going to have some fun, and we're going to go into the settings, and we're going to say, okay, let's elevate the lots and the pads. We'll just do it at once. I did it separately before. We're going to look for lot edge, and we're going to put it on lot elevated. We're going to elevate it based on the template lane. We're going to set up grading rules. I'm going to call this GSRs, my initials for now. And you'll just see this is all of the rules to grade the lot lines. And you can really do some interesting stuff. If it's a cut, do this. If it's a fill, do that. You can have distances at a certain slope and then change slope. There's a lot you can do. You can tie into the existing ground at the back right here. A lot of very interesting options, but you do have to have um, a grading rules, a GRR it's called. So we told it that to elevate the lot lines, and then let's look at the pads. Use lane, look for lot buildings, and again, here's the settings. Put them on layer building 3D and so on. So everything should be pretty good to go. Let's process again and see if it works. And there it does. It looks at all of the 2D lot lines. It finds that they're within the 20 foot that I put for from the lane component of the template. It found the pads too, which were within the correct acceptable distance, and it elevated everything to 3D. Which is pretty spectacular, okay? And the whole idea, of course, is as you change your design, you can just keep circling through. Now, one thing that's missing is all the way around the back, and my good friend Doug said, hey, I figured out a great way to do that, and he showed me, and I'm going to show you, is we're going to say 3D data, 2D to 3D by screen entities, okay? And we're going to keep the existing one, and we're going to say okay, and it says select the polylines to convert. Okay, and we're going to take this guy right here. We're going to convert that. And it says select the ones to use. And we're going to use the F for fence line to make this quick. And we're going to sneak through there. And we'll sneak around here. My O-snap's kind of messing me up, but I think I missed that one. So I'm picking all these lines and telling it to use those to elevate this one up into 3D. And actually, if I put on my drawing inspector, you'll see that it's on a different layer. It's on layer break line is what I told it to put it on. So now I have that as well. We're going to save and exit with this first pass, and I don't know where I'm at with time. Oh, 17 minutes? Oh my God. Under 10. Forget the under 10. We're going to try for under 20 here. And we're going to go to SiteNET, and we're going to say to SiteNET, set up my layers in SiteNET. And SiteNET says, okay, for existing ground, I'm not going to use layers. I'm going to use a file, and the file is going to be OG2. That's what my existing condition is going to be. Okay. For design, I don't have any layers, so I'm going to come in here and say I want to use layer break line, buildings in 3D, and elevated lots, and road break lines. Going to use all of these layers. We're going to move them to design. Oop, I lost them. Building 3D, lots elevated, road break lines, and break line is that yellow one, and we're going to use those and move those to design. So now those are the layers that I want it to use to build my design surface, okay? So now it says I need a boundary right here, and we're going to pick this guy as a boundary, and then we're going to say make existing ground, which is just copying that OG 3 times. That's another story. And then we're going to say make design, and it's going to give us a couple little errors. We have one little error, which is right there, which is pretty insignificant. We're going to ignore that. But what it actually did was it made these surfaces. So let's save our work and let's go take a look in 3D view, surface viewer. We're going to start with OG, which is the copy of existing ground. And there's our original ground, okay? And now we're going to add another surface, and that one is going to be SG. And that is our design surface. You see it there, and you see the road and everything, and you can see where it's cut and where it's fill. I've got some opacity set for existing ground. Let me take that off. So for original ground, let's take off so it's fully opaque, and you can see there's existing ground. There's the proposed design with all my lots, and you can see where it's fill and where it's cut. Taking down the opacity lets you kind of see through it a little bit. But there's my 2 surfaces that I built from scratch here in, where am I at? 20 minutes. The whole idea now And I guess we're going to go a couple more minutes here because I do need to show you two more things. The first one is I'm going to go back to my layers, which is pretty cool, and I'm going to go to my building footprints, which is here, and I'm going to double click and I'm going to give them basements. I'm going to say basement, basement, base. Oop, my keys are worn out and I can't tell which is the A and which is the S anymore. A 10-foot, we'll give it a 10-foot depth for the basement, okay? I just want to show you what that does, and we're save and exit. And I'll show you here really quick. We'll rebuild our design surface right here. And I'll show you, we'll exit here, and I'll show you in 3D view, surface. And let's look at subgrade. SG is with subgrades. And I'll show you what that did. You see there's all my basements carved out, which is pretty cool. And of course, I never did a volume. I should have done a volume and then shown you another volume, but I'll do this instead. So I'm going to show you that we have cut 206 and fill 3. So I'm a little heavy on the fill, a little bit heavy on the fill, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to RoadNet, which is right here, and we're going to take our road here, and we're going to edit the road. So we're a little heavy on the fill. Let's see why. Yep. So we're cutting there, but we're filling here. So let's just do this. Let's grab this PVI, and we'll just cut and do a little more cut. That's all. And let's grab this one, and we'll just do a little more cut. We'll just do a little more cut here too. Okay, and save and exit. Save and exit. And of course, the magic of the whole thing is I reprocess, and it re-elevates based on the new road design. And then I basically just come in here and say, make design surface again. Okay, make my design surface again. I've got some vertical edges that I need to figure out where those came from. Well, you know where those are from. Those are all out here. Because what happened is all these lines changed, and now there's a big gap there. So we're gonna fix that. We're gonna just fix that. Okay, we can do it really quick. 2D to 3D screen entities. What are we going to change? Do not keep the existing. Set layer is break line. We're going to take this and we're going to change it. F for fence, and we're going to say change it to these. Okay, I've actually not done this before, so boy. Sometimes you just got to kind of, roll with it, okay, and say go. And we just adjusted. You see that? Did you see that little switch there? Now watch what happens when I build the design again. Here it is, make design, and watch. Missing boundary. Okay, so missing boundary. Oh, that's right, because I moved it. So it's a new one. So it said, oh, your boundary's missing. So I had to tell it it's the boundary. Make design again. And yep, all the errors are gone. See, pretty cool, right? And now comes the punchline is let's check our volume and see how that did. And we'll say, give us our volume calc and let's see how close we did. Look at that, 260 and 272, okay? So they're tied together. I could go back and do the lots again. I'm out of time now for sure. But I could go back and change to 1 acre lots, elevate the roads, elevate the lots, change the building pads, change the foundation depth, whatever. LotNet to RoadNet to SiteNet to LotNet to RoadNet to LotNet to SiteNet to RoadNet. These 3 pieces work together, my friends, and you can do some spectacular conceptual preliminary design and get some ideas of what you want to do. Obviously, you're going to do a lot of editing. You're going to fix these lots you don't like. You're going to do all kinds of manual editing and so on. But to get this far and get volume calculations in only 24 minutes. So today is Power Tools in under 25 minutes. I apologize for the length, but hopefully, I guess I was kidding myself when I told Tony, I'm going to do it in under 10 minutes. And he said, okay, you can do it. But I'm under 25. So I wanted to show you this. If it's not for the squeamish, but if you want to try, give it a shot. My name's Gary Rosen. My email, grosen@carlsonsw.com. If you get stuck, let me know. I'd be happy to help you. These tools that are built into Carlson Office software, desktop software, just spectacular. And these three working together is amazing. So thank you very much. I hope that was helpful, and see you next time.